this is why I love NESIVAS SHALOM, because he takes psukim and he asks simple questions that we could all ask. He says, first of all, why does it have to count Shnei Chayei, which it doesn't count by all the other mothers, by all the other imahis? Why count it? Number two, after counting her years, it says again, Shnei Chayei Sarah, these were the years of her life. Why? What does it mean? Why are you repeating again Shnei Chayei Sarah? And it's true that Rashi brings out over here of art, and it says Kulam Shavam L'Toiva, that they were all Shava L'Toiva, they were all good. But still, you have to know, why did the Torah tell this to us that Kulam Shavam L'Toiva? We don't find that by anywhere else. So again, we have the question. The first question is, why count her names, her years? He's not even asking, why is it broken up? That's a different piece, but that's also true. Why is it broken up? Another strange thing. And then Shnei Chayei Sarah at the end, the review, Kula and Shavan L'Toiva, they were all good, but why do you have to tell this to us? Also a very good question. And then it says, Vatamas Sarah, Sarah died, and Avram came, Lisbaid L'Sara of Livkaisa, to give a hesped for Sarah and to cry. Seems easy, right? No. First question is, Livkaisa is written with a Chaf Zeira, a small chaf. Why? The Balaturim says to teach us, Shalei bacha ela ma'at lefisha zikna haisa. He didn't cry so much. It wasn't a tragedy. She was an old lady, so he only cried a little bit. So he says, I don't understand. Why do you have to tell me this? Why would the Torah tell us how much he cried? And he didn't cry a lot because she was very old. Anyway, question number 4. Rashi says on the words lispaid lisara v'levkaisa, the story that we all know, that the Malchamavas came, the Satan came, and told Sarah about what happened with the Akedah, and because she heard that her son was almost killed, Parcha Nishmasa, she had a heart attack and she died. So he says, beautiful questions. First of all, why do you tell me this on Lispaid L'Sara V'Levchaisa? You should have told me this. Rashi should have been on the words, Vatama Sarah. Vatama Sarah, Sarah died. Rashi should tell you, by the way, you know what happened? Da-da-da-da-da-da, and that's why she died. Why does it say Vatama Sarah and Sarah died? And then Avram came, Lisbad L'Sara V'Levchaisa, and on the end, tell me this whole story. Number 1. Another thing, Rashi's telling us this whole story that happened about how she died. So it comes out that she died because she heard about Akedas Yitzchak. I don't understand, says the NESIVAS SHALOM. Shomer mitzvah lo yeda dover ra. A person who's doing the command of Hashem, who's doing what he's supposed to do. A person who's doing ratzon Hashem, lo yeda dover ra. Nothing bad comes from it. So how can it be? Listen to his words. Veich efshar sheminisayin kodesh kazeh yotza dover ra. How could it be that Avram Avinu, doing such a holy, standing up to such a holy nisayin, which we can't even imagine, killing his own child for Hashem because Hashem said so? How could it be that he lost his wife because of that? And another point. We know that Sarah was on a higher level of Nuvuah than Avram Avinu. As it says on Rashi brings down, when Hashem told Avram Avinu, Kol Ashatoymer Lecha Sarah Shema B'Kayla, to teach us that Avram Avinu was tougher l'Sarah b'Nevi, she was holier. She was bigger, she was greater. So how could you have an assign that Avram withstood no problem, no health issues, no stress, no panic attacks, Yitzchak, no problem, and Sarah is like the weakling that she heard about it. She wasn't even there. She didn't have to have that anticipation of going, the nerves to go there, can you imagine? And then being there, b'shas ma'aseh, when it's almost happened. She just heard about what almost happened, and she couldn't make it. How can it be? We know Sarah was very, very strong. She wasn't a lightweight. These are the 5+ questions of the NESIVAS SHALOM, which every person can ask. And now he's going to tie in a theme and answer all of these questions beautifully. We're going to have a deep understanding of what's happening in these psukim. So NESIVAS SHALOM answers with a tiny little concept, and that answers all the questions. He says, you know what I think it is? Perhaps, after the Satan realized that Avram Avinu was miskaber on this Nisayan, he was thinking, how can I make him stumble? What can I do to him? So he realized that it's time for Sarah to die. It was her time. She was going to die. So he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell her right then at that moment about what happened. Because why do you have to go and tell her? I'm going to tell her about what happened, that her son was almost killed, and then she's going to die because she was supposed to die, not because of what she heard. Not like we always thought that she had a heart attack, she couldn't handle it. No, because she's going to die because it was her time. And what's going to happen? The whole world and Avram Avinu himself are all going to know that she died right after hearing about the Akedah, And then it's going to be movavel, it's going to confuse Avraham Avinu, that he's going to worry and be mischarit on his ma'isa. He's going to feel bad for what he did. And it's going to be a bechina of toya amas ma'asim toivim sha'asa. He's going to feel bad for what he did. He just wants to get us. The Satan wants to get us before we do an Avera, after we do an Avera. He's always out to get us. And over here, Avraham Avinu, shining armor. He's like unbelievable. He's a prince. And he does the Nisayin, the hardest Nisayin in the world. What am I going to do? He says, you know what? His wife is supposed to die. I'm going to make it look like she died because of what he did. Wow. Isn't that evil? But the truth is, she did not die in the middle of her days. She was at the end of her life. B'diyuk nishlemu yemei chayeha. It was mamish b'diyuk. Right then was the end of her life. V'hegiya zman alamos. And it was really her time to die. And now with this little idea, he answers all the questions. Number one, why did it say Vayu CHAYEI SARA? These were the years of Sarah, and it counts her years. That it counts the years of Sarah to tell you, you should know these were her years. They were meant to be her years. This is what it was supposed to be. There was no tragedy here. She didn't die earlier for any other reason. Number two, why was it Kefil Omer? Why did it say again at the end, Shnei CHAYEI SARA? Lahadgish, in order to make a point to teach us that these were the years that were set for her life, and she didn't lose a second of her life for any other reason. Like it says in Chazal, in Bereshis Rabbah, that Sarah's sunset of her life didn't happen until the sunrise of Rivka, which means everything was planned. She didn't die early. She died when she was supposed to die, and it was planned out that Rivka was going to take over for the light in their lives and the light of the Avos. She took over. It was exactly written in advance, and it had nothing to do with what the Satan told her. And that's why, and that's why it says it close like Yitzchak, that the Satan wanted to go ahead and make it look like she died from the Akedah. But Avraham Avinu was Amad even in this Nisayan. He tried to trip him up. And he said, look, what happened, it's because of that. And maybe you messed up and you killed your wife. And doing mitzvahs causes harm to yourself. And you lose out because of doing mitzvahs. Look, your wife is dead. Avraham Avinu was Oymed ben Nisayan. And that's why it says it on Lispaid L'Sara V'Levchaisa. Because it says, Lispaid L'Sara, Avraham Avinu came to give a hesped V'Levchaisa with a small chaf. Why? The Baal HaTurim said that because he gave a small hesped like somebody who dies in old age. Not like somebody who gets cut off with a tragedy and dies in the middle of their life. To show you that he died, he cried for her like someone in the old age, that this was meant to be her life. She didn't lose any time. He was Oymed ben Nisayan, and he believed that even though it looked like he lost out by doing a mitzvah, even though it looked like she died early, then you would cry much more. He said, no, she died at the time in a ripe old age when she was meant to die, and not because of the Basur of the Akedah. And all of the questions are answered. And this is what I love about NESIVAS Shalom. After asking a bunch of questions, giving us an idea, and answering all the questions, he makes it personal. He gives us a lesson for our lives. The Torah is teaching every Jew that there is a Satan milfanenu, and there's a Satan me'acharenu. We say, V'hasa Satan milfanenu me'acharenu. There's a Satan before, and there's a Satan afterwards. In our lives, in everybody's lives, there are nisyonis, there are challenges that we have beforehand, that before, trying to get us to do averos, trying to stop us to do mitzvahs, trying to make us do mitzvahs on a very shallow level and not having yishuv adas. There's tons of nisyonis. But there's not less than that. Loi pachos me'hanisayin mofanenu yeshnu hanisayin lacharenu. Not any less than the challenges that we have of the Satan trying to mess us up before the Aveira, before not doing the mitzvah, to not do the mitzvah. We also have Nisayin Me'acharenu afterwards. He's always out to get us. That after we're miskaber on the Yetzer Hara gives us another Nisayin. And what's the Nisayin? He gives us machshavas that maybe we shouldn't have done it. Maybe I don't have to be so frum. Maybe I lost out because of it. Kivin shebe'etzem asa b'zeh neged ratzon Hashem misiba acheris. He tries to get us to feel regret for the good that we do. We see sometimes we lose out. It looks like we lose out. And that's the Satan trying to get us to feel, so many people do mitzvahs and they lose out because of it. And maybe there's no cheshbon, and why should I do it? I'm not any happier because of it. There's all kinds of stuff that happen afterwards to trip us up. Avram Avinu Amad b'chol chelkei hanisyonis mufanenu me'acharenu. Avram Avinu was able to be oimid b'nisayin of all of the type of challenges beforehand and afterwards. Shekol zeh melamed es Yehudi. All of this is to teach us haderech lehiskaber al kol nisyonis chayev, the way to go through all of the different challenges of our lives. We have challenges beforehand that he's trying to make us sin. He's trying to make us not do mitzvahs properly. He's trying to get us off the track. And then there's afterwards, there's also loy pachas, not any less, all kinds of nisyonis that the Yetzer Hara plays with our head to try to get us to stop being erlich Yidden. We learned from Avram Avinu. He's our hero. He was oimid in all the nisyonis. That's our goal. He was a black belt. We're only a white belt, a yellow belt. We have to learn from the black belt, and in order to go there as much as we can, to become green belts and then brown belts, to work our way higher and higher and higher. And the first way is to recognize that these ideas and concepts that we're thinking of, it's coming from the Yetzer Hara. And once you realize it's coming from the Satan, he's trying to get me to regret my Mesiras Nefesh for a mitzvah. He's trying to make me to regret following in the way of Hashem. That's the Satan, and then you could be oimid just like Avraham Avinu.